Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks very much for joining the CIM200 CIM200 Lunch and Learn that we've got today. So today we're going to have an update from Pete Donaldson, our 200 trainer. I think everyone knows Pete. And then we've got Juuso Santti from CIM, and he's going to go through CIM200. And at the end of the session, there's going to be a short survey where you can give feedback on the session and how you found the delivery from Juuso and any other questions you've got. So there'll also be handouts attached to the session, and if you've got any questions, as always with these sessions, just put the questions in the chat and we'll try to get them. If there's anything we can't answer today, either myself, Juuso, or Pete will take it up later. But I'm going to pass over to Pete now, and we'll have a little bit of a training update. Pete, so over to you, my friend.
Excellent, thank you very much. Like Michael said, just a very quick one for me, but I think we will just get started with a little advert. So selfishly, a little bit of an advert from me there for the partner academy that is currently ongoing, and it's just really a bit of a shout at the guys that are currently on it. As you hopefully can see on the screen there, we have 7 people that have just gone through. Well, actually, they're partway through the current cohort for CIM200, but they've completed all of their technical training. They've completed the technical bootcamp. So over a period of 2 weeks, we put them through the installations course, the financials course, and the commercials course, and they all came through, and they're currently flying with Build Lab at the moment as well. So it was just a quick congratulations for me, because we did throw a lot at them in those 2 weeks, and like I said, they've all came through it very well. So obviously, well, you can see which partners they work for as well. So if they work for your organisation, give them a high five next time you see them or something. Or just give them a quick nod or something like that. The next thing that I want to bring to people's attention is just a slight change that we're making in some of the courses. So the CIM200 Financials has always been instructor-led and will continue to be so. But the commercials did go through a bit of a period, partly because of the pandemics and things like that, where it became self-taught. We've moved that back now to become instructor-led, and the first iteration of that will run in November on the 21st. So there's been some quite big changes to the nature of the course, in that the original one, which some people may have done reasonably recently, would have had a day's worth of prerequisites, a 3-day self-learn, and then I think it was about 3 or 4 days of enhanced learning on top of that. The new course is about a couple of hours worth of prerequisite videos, and then we'll take you through everything during the class in the 3 days that we have you for. So like I say, if you've got anyone that needs a certification in commercials, first iteration of that new course will be on the 21st of November, and we're accepting all applicants. The next thing that I want to bring up is in terms of the certification side of things. So what we found in the past is we've had people turn up to, say, the financials course, who are currently in role, and they've currently dealt with the program for a while, and they may even hold a valid certification. Sometimes it just felt like a little bit of a waste of their time spending the 3 days with us. So what we're going to put into place for going forward is for the moment, for CIM200 installation and configuration, financials or commercials, if you're in that position, then you just need to take the exam if you need to recertify. That being said, if you do unfortunately fail the exam, then we would probably encourage you to come back on the course just as a bit of a refresh. But the big takeaway is you just need to do the exam, and it's there available as a standalone item in Sage University as well, if you just search for it. And that's me done. So I will pass across to Juuso now. Like Michael said earlier, though, any questions that you have on this, or if you want any more information on the Partner Academy for the next one, which is due in February, if anyone's thinking about putting anybody on it, please get in touch with me, and I can point in the right direction if I can't answer the question for you. Would you give me 2 seconds? Juuso, are you ready?
Ready to go? Thanks, Pete.
Right, ready as always. I'll pass it across now.
Thank you very much. Hopefully you can start seeing my screen. Excellent.
Yeah, all good, Juuso. See that?
Perfect. So if I switch off my camera, just to save the space on the screen. So I have a couple of slides that I want to run through. So I'm not going to do that by PowerPoint presentation on this one, but thank you everyone for joining. So my name is Juuso Santti. I'm a solution sales consultant here at CIM, and I look after everything CIM200 and CIM200 relating within the business. So today we are looking into CIM200 manufacturing. So we are bringing that out to the broader market now. So to start with, just a quick introduction. So where CIM200 came from, it really came on the back of the CIM200 manufacturing InfoSwan manufacturing solution not being developed, and no new features being brought in. So in 2019, we took a decision to start building our own manufacturing solution. And then year later, or year and a half later, Sage announced that CIM200 manufacturing was withdrawn from sale. And year after that, we released CIM200. So it's been a soft release. It's been in the market now nearly 2 years. And it is designed to replace CIM200 manufacturing, InfoSwan manufacturing, as well as giving you a upgrade path to upgrade from CIM50 and CIM50 to 200 level. And this month, we've been included into the Sage price list as well. So there will be some communication coming out in due course on that. So CIM200, it includes a number of modules, but we are using standard Sage commercials modules, namely the stock control and commercial self SOP and POP, as well as Sage standard bill of materials. But we have our fingers on those as well, so we are extending those modules. We have our own works order modules and planning modules, as well as our own latest addition to the makes our graphical scheduler, and there is a shop floor data capture available too. So some of the benefits what we see with CIM200 is that it looks very similar to CIM200, so there's nothing alien about it. But what we have tried to do is to reduce the number of clicks that end user will need to do to perform tasks, as well as giving you more information at your fingertips at any start of whether it's the sales or manufacturing and so forth. So hopefully that will make customers happy, and we would all be happy using and developing our software. So that's enough of me talking about PowerPoint. So if I now jump into our software, that's what we are here for. So first of all, we are integrating with, like I mentioned, on our stock control commercial elements, and then we have our own modules, works orders, and planning. But if I start by going into the stock control side of things, so we have our own stock list with number of additional columns where we have enhanced the stock module itself. So we have quite a lot of information there. And when I mentioned that we want to give you some information at your fingertips. If I start with the elements, so if I like my coffee, I feel I need one now, but unfortunately I missed the coffee making rounds. But what we have here is a stock profile, which is basically your one-stop stop for all your activity within the stock item itself. So here we can see what we have in stock, how much we have allocated, how much free stock we have. If we have any on orders, like we have some sales orders for this item, we will give you a list of all the sales orders, and we can go and view those orders. We could do the same for the works orders as well as quarantine. We give you the stock projection within the warehouse for what are your quantities in and out on any given date, as well as the running balance on your stock levels. If we had a MRP run and we had demands, we would give you what if scenarios as well for the MRP side of to include the MRP recommendations. So if you were to raise orders according to what system thinks you should, we will tell you then what the position is. You can also filter this by warehouse, so you can choose any warehouse, and if I would, when it filters it by that warehouse, go into the alternative, or I can show all. Okay. We also give you some historical data of that, so we can see all the purchase quantities and values on the screen, as well as all the same information if it was a manufactured item, and we also give you the, your income from the item as well. It defaults to last 12 months, but I could pick up any financial year just to show the graphical representation of what how your cost price has fluctuated over that period. From here, you can go and view the stock record as well. So if I jump into a stock record, and this is where we are introducing our own elements into the stock item. We are spreading them like on the bottom of the screen here. That defines whether the item is going into the quarantine, whether it's default going into quarantine on a purchase orders or works orders or sales returns and such like. We are also bringing for more planning settings just to allow you to manage your MRP recommendations a little bit more in detail. We give you stock item alerts like you have on Stop and Pop, so it pops up here, there, and everywhere. And we also give you a audit log for any changes to the static data within the stock item. You can also utilize, actually, let's go for another item, I think. Let's go for Matt. So this one is ticked to go into the quarantine now on a works order completion. So we have the customer part numbers, so you can utilize these part numbers on the sales order quotation line entry. So you can actually type in their part number rather than your own. And on a traceable items, I've mentioned a couple of times now a quarantine. So you can get items to go into the quarantine, and then you can define inspection templates where you can have some questions that you need to answer, whether you're failing or passing the items. So it can be a number of different data types. You can make questions mandatory, or you can make them optional. You can even go and restrict who can actually inspect that particular or perform that particular inspection. So it could be a final inspection that needs to be signed off by a supervisor, for instance, and we're keeping the log of that. So we will keep the record of who done inspections, what's been the results, what's been the additional comments and notes. Okay. And that leads me on. We still have a locations, so we are introducing a warehouse hierarchy as well, a little bit more enhanced than standard Sage, and we will give you now a warehouse priority, very much similar way to what you have been priorities as well. And in locations, all the locations can have their own individual default quarantine warehouses as well. So when you're entering, when things go into the quarantine, they might actually go into the purchase or goods in quarantine location or the manufactured location. Few other additions we have into the stock item is we have the quality control, which is the quarantine. We have goods in transit, where we can generate the transit location. So if you have transit time defined between two warehouses, you will actually get the items will actually go into the goods in transit location, where you can then go and receive them into the receiving warehouse. So you will have full tally of your rolling stock. And then we have introduced rapid entry stock movements, and you can use this method of entering, let's say, adding stock, removing stock, or writing off stock, doing stock transfers and such like. That's not available in that warehouse, but I could have a multi-line entry of stock items. And you can transfer stock. Of course, you can go and transfer them into the quarantine as well. Okay. So that's a couple of additions we have done in the stock control. So if I move on to sales order processing, and what I will show you on the quotations. But let's go into the sales order list. And I have filtered it for the quotations. So first thing we have done is to give you quotation revisions. So you can amend the quotations, but save the old record and just upversion it. You can go back and bring an old version as a live quotation to be able to convert that into a sales order pro forma. What we also have is if we go into the quotation line itself. So I'm selling some quantity of this item. We will give you quantity breaks, so you can define different quantity breaks where you can give different discount values for different quantities. But what is quite nice is you have access to the stock profile for full view of what is happening with this item overall. But what you can also do is to go and configure that this is an existing bill of material item. So you can go and actually make changes to this. You can add operations, make changes to the components and so forth. So you can make a one-off customized item. On the costing side of things, you can now define different markup percentages, so you can create matrix on how much you want to uplift on certain elements, and you can update that on per quote, but it also pulls the details of the customer you are raising it for. So there will be upon default, but you would be able to customize this for different customers separately, so they could have different markup percentages. Good. What we also have here is that you can have multiple dates for the stock item. So we could have on one line on a quotation, we could have a delivery schedule. I had my numlock turned off. Right, but we could add multiple different delivery dates. You can do the configuration for a free text item as well. So if you're entering a free text item, you can configure that. You can convert that into a one-off works order without actually needing to raise a new stock item or bill of material record for that. Okay. On the on the sales order side of things, you can create back-to-back orders from the sales order entry. There are a couple of other things we have brought in. So we have your revision history, so we can go and view the previous records. And we are giving you a summary of a costing analysis of all the different cost items on this particular quotation. When you go, and if you had a quotation that you have configured, you can then go and raise the stock, raise the orders for it if you wanted to raise the works orders, or you can create the stock item out of bill of material record directly from the system without the need to go into the item directly. Okay. Good. So, been talking about bills of materials, another Sage module here. So if I go into the bill of material list, so of course we have our fingers in here as well. And if I open up a stock item or the bill of material record, you can see from here we have a few different types of bills of materials. So percentage bombs quite commonly used as a on food and chemical industries, where you have recipes and you will define your quantities as a percentage rather than EGs or liters and such like, so it will calculate that automatically. Kit bomb is your kitting, where you can, if you're allocating this onto the sales order, it just performs like a bomb build on the background without you needing to build it first, so it does it for you. On base item is a little bit more complicated, like I will show you in a moment, but if the item is base item, you will be able to have one works order. You can have multiple different output items being brought into stock, so one-to-many relationship rather than many-to-one. So you would have your own bill of material record for your base item, whether it's paint, all the components of the paint, but then you have your 1 liter, 5 liter, 10 liter tubs of paint going out, so it will consume that manufactured paint, but then also allocating the cost of the packaging material, for instance, those paint tins, so you will get all the correct costings there. Okay. On notes, we give you rich type fonts. I'll put my teeth back in the mouth. But so you can change fonts. You can change size, make it pretty and pink, as I say there. And also on we don't have operations tab available at the moment. We replaced that with routes when you have multiple different routing options available to you. So we could have our default routes that MRP will look at, and all the operations there. On the operations as well as the components, we have put into, you can have your analysis codes included, as well as multiple different calendars. So you can change the calendars on the bill of material record to define, let's say this is always done on the evening shift or Saturday shift, and a scheduler will look into that. You can also change them manually on the works order level. So here is my routing. Sometimes you would get overloaded, so you might send items to be subcontracted, and we have the subcon operation there for that. And you can change that once you have changed the raised the works order. Excellent. So if I move on to works orders, so have a look at the works order list here. So very familiar looking screen, but and we are giving a little bit of a color coding there. So we have something is overdue, something is already late. Some of them are perfectly fine. So that's all there. On works order in itself, we have some controls, so we can lock the works order from so you can't reschedule it, for instance, or your manufacturing instructions and such like as per usual. You have your due date, safety due dates, start end dates. You can have links to the parent orders, whether that's works orders, or sales orders. And when we go into the operations, we bring you a lot more detail here, just on for you to view directly. And now we are actually scheduling within seconds, if that's been defined on a works order. But we are not reliant on having operations back to back anymore. So you could schedule this works order to start the operation 1 today and operation 2 a week after the first one was completed. And we do same for the resources as well. So we give you all the information right on this screen here. You can raise subcontract orders and receive and manage subcontracting from here. But we also have a separate list view for subcontracting where you can manage all the orders like you would be doing on the, for instance, the purchase order side of things. Okay. Another thing we have here, which is available in stock item, bills of material, and works order record, is a audit log that we will keep. And that audit log goes over and above if you're using amend with elevated privileges. So if you have a version control on elevated privileges, you don't need to have version, but what we are doing is we are allowing you to, or we are still recording any changes to the static data. And over here, when you're raising a new works order, you can actually raise a non-stock item works order as well, just as a one-off, which will not require you to have a stock item or bill of material as such. Okay. Right. So there are a few other things. So we can enter additional costs against the works orders. So we could have additional costs, which can be just any item, whether it's you're going out for coffee with a customer, or you have to record a fuel receipt against the works order. You can do those one-off costs from here, and then you can add your timesheets and add into operational costs as well. Okay. Also, we have everything on entered states at the moment within the system. We are not requiring you to allocate stock before issuing now. So allocation step is now optional. Okay. So if I have a look, so I have raised a order for my base paint mix, and now so on a completion side of things, you can now get multiple different items that you might be able to complete from that. We have expected outstanding quantity, which is which you can define on a works order manually, or alternatively, you will be able, MRP will be smart enough to give you the expected quantities. And then when you are entering from here, I can see if we are needing 4 of my base paint mix to produce a 4-liter tin. If I complete one of them, it starts getting into the complete quantity of 4. And then from here, I can say if it will need to go into the quarantine. Default will be driven from the stock item itself. And if you wanted to change the quarantine warehouse, if you had more than one available, you can change it from here as well. We also have introduced byproducts onto the system. So any receipt, so I could add a stock item that will go in. I can define quantities. Keep on pressing my num lock all the time, apologies. I can say whether I get one, regardless of quantity of what I'm receiving, I get one per receipt of these. It could be pallets, this could be a percentage for scrap metal and such like that you might want to keep a tally of, but it's a byproducts are zero cost items, so all the cost is allocated to the works order. Okay. So this is what we have on the works order side of things. So when you are going to manage and have a look at what you how to run the MRP and such like. So we have your make for stock sales forecast available. We have renamed the MPS to demand schedule. So demand scheduler replaces that, and we allow you to run that, schedule the running of the demand schedule right from the application itself. So we can go and just tick them, start time, when we want to run them, what we want to include as a demand, and what we want to include as replenishment as a default. And you can manually run it with a different set of settings. So, and you can run the MRP with everyone still in the system. So we are not limiting you from running the MRP. And you can also run the MRP for specific stock records or sales orders or ranges of as well. Okay. And working week, now we can have multiple different calendars that you can define against the bill of material record or the works order, just to manage your capacity. Okay. Talking about capacity, if I launch my scheduler directly from the client, so this is our planner. I only have a few works orders, but it should be quite clear. I'm managing my capacity by machine at the moment. You can do that by labor resources as well, or you can do both. So for clarity, I'll just I'm only scheduling my machines as well as the subcontracting. We give you a little bit of a traffic light system here on the left, just to give you an indication where something might be going wrong. So amber here, what we have currently, that means they will be late. Red means that we are already late, or the last operation is in the past. So we see the due date is on 2nd of November, so we're not quite late yet. We give you outstanding quantities and such like. What you see over here, you can customize, so you can change the columns. You could, for instance, add customer sales orders. They will pop up here. You will be able to group all the works orders by a customer, for instance. And if I go into the scheduling side of things, so we have a few different colors here on the screen. So one is green, that's all is fine. Blue is subcontracting. Red is that everything is in the past. I can move operations individually, or I can take a previous operation, or for instance, the first operation, and move it up. Turns yellow because it goes into the safety due date. We also give you a little bit of information. So if I zoom in, so you can zoom in all the way down to 5-minute brackets. But if I zoom in here, you can see dark gray is non-working time. So we have a lunch break from 12 to 1. You have operation, which is locked. I can't schedule it schedule this at all. And it has a progress bar here. So we have already actually recorded time against it. So it's a 67% complete operation. Okay. If I zoom myself back out, and once you have scheduled everything and happy with everything on the top grid, I'll pull this now. We are on time with this one as well. We can start having a look at the our resources. So I have a number of different resources with the dependencies going. So okay, forgot to mention that part. So I would have a over here, I have a parent works order. We had a look at the link. So we have this works order number 5 is actually a subassembly of works order number 3. If I were to move my operation beyond the start date of the first operation of the parent order, it will actually push that out. So we keep that pegging on operations and subassemblies. But on the bottom here now, once I'm happy with everything on the top, I can see if I have something red. We can a little indication there that there is a scheduling conflict as well. That means that I just know, because I only have one resource for my assembly tool, this resource group, and I have 20 on the other. So what I can now start doing is to move my operations to specific resources. I cannot move it to a different group, so my assembly operation cannot be done on a CNC machine, for instance. So I can move it up here, and it will be happy again. We can have multiple resources here because, as I mentioned, we have more resources on that available in that area. You can also view it on dark mode, but I found online presentations might be easy on the eye, right in front of you, but sometimes the colors don't quite work on different screens in terms of visibility, how they come across. So I've got to keep it on this part here. We do have undo buttons and redo buttons. We can, once we are happy with everything, we can upload this data, so you can play with it to your heart's content, and then you will be able to upload all the configured operations and have your production schedule there. You can also lock the operations from the scheduler, so you don't make any mistakes if you haven't locked them on a client yet. We do all have a separate view if you were to look at your capacity, for instance. So we are all okay in terms of managing our resources. So this is the same view what we saw on the bottom of the screen, but now what we also have is your loading, factory loading on the specific resources. So now I can see my works order 4 and 5 are making me overloaded on this particular area. There's a little bit more. If I start moving my operations to satisfy for that, I can, for instance, move that only a couple of percent loaded, removed half of my loading from this area, so that all gets satisfied. You can also filter this. Let's take operation number 5, and you can filter it for that particular works order, and you can see the dependency lines, what is happening and when. I have a conflict over there. I could move it up here, but I could also go and investigate why do I have by releasing the rest of the works orders into the mix. Okay. So that's a very quick look at the graphical scheduler. Any uploads will be, if I uploaded any data, that will be captured by the audit log. So I can see I have made some changes with the scheduler. That's a few weeks ago now, but we can see the end date and such like have now updated. Good. That's a very high-level overview of Cim200, some of its capabilities, but there is plenty more. I'm quite happy to run through those individually with anyone and dig a little bit more deeper into the product. What we also have available is a migration tool, so you can move your data from CIM200 manufacturing, Cim50 and Swan manufacturing directly into Cim200. And because it's a very familiar product, if you're a CIM200 manufacturing customer, we're probably looking at about 6 days of training if in average. And of course, the time frames, how long it will actually take to implement, that can be very, very short due to the similarities, especially with CIM200 manufacturing. Okay. Moving forward then is if you are interested in joining and becoming an accredited partner, if you're not as yet, we have our next business partner accreditation training in December 2023. So just please get in touch and I'll give you more details. We also having included roadmap and wish list for business partners as well as the end users for visibility. You can go and vote, log new visits, and you can even upvote existing wishes, and we look into that very carefully just to see what else we can bring into the system. And we also give you ongoing support, whether it's managing customers, whether it's technical support, or also we can provide demonstrations as well. Okay. So that's me. Hopefully you enjoyed it. So that's my piece. So if you have any questions or any feedback, just please let us know. And I can hand over back on to Michael.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks very much for that, Juuso. So first of all, just want to say a big thank you and a big well done to you, because I know you originally tried to do the session. It took about an hour and a quarter, did you say, the first time you've done it. So getting it down to 40 minutes is excellent. We have one question in the chat, but the person who's asked it's left, so I'll pick that up separately. But anybody who has attended the session today and wants to complete the survey at the end, there's a section around there to find out more about Juuso and Cim, and if you're always get in touch with Juuso, then just if you are, complete the survey and I'll pass the details on to Juuso if you didn't manage to catch his email address.
Perfect.
After the session today, we've got 2 handouts. We've got the PowerPoint presentation that Juuso has very kindly gone through today, and also a Cim200 brochure. Like I said earlier, Pete will be putting this recording on YouTube and hopefully on Partner Hub by the end of the week. Actually, I'm saying that's Friday tomorrow, isn't it? So might not be by the end of this week, but certainly by the end of next week. So thanks again for joining, and also Juuso, thanks again for giving us your time today. It's been in the pipeline for a while getting this done, but yeah, Cim200 will be on the price list this month. There'll be a further communication about that soon. But again, yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and thanks for giving us your lunch time, and hope you have a great day, and hope nobody gets too badly affected by the storm we've got coming. But I'll end the session there, and if anyone's got any questions, as always, drop yourself an email or specific to the Cim200, reach out to Juuso, or obviously I'll pass your details on as well. But thanks again, everyone, and thanks again, Juuso.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thanks, guys. Take care now. Bye.